the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome in to this lovely Monday afternoon. I'm Greg Boyson with Mario Terabasi. Our buddy Jay Zawoski is off for the next couple of days. Had a little oral surgery done this morning. He sent us a picture. He's all puffed up, but he's got the good pain meds. You can see it in his eyes.
Yeah, he's
right.
off somewhere. That's for sure.
He's off the planet right now. So Jay is recuperating. He'll be back later in the week. So we're flying short-handed today, but
that's fine.
It's Monday. That means it's Mailbag Monday, and our CHGO Blackhawks listeners, diehards, you guys have given us so many questions over the last 24 hours that this is probably going to be a two-part episode.
We might.
You have programmed our show for 2 days. we are delightfully thrilled about that. So we're going to get as many of your questions to today as possible.
A lot of really good questions. A lot of good creative questions, which we asked for and we received.
Yes.
So
because
good job.
We're going to get as many as we can today. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll talk about Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, and then we'll get to what we don't get to today. So if we don't get to your question today, we'll probably hit it tomorrow. Before we get into the questions, if you asked one of the questions that we've been getting about trading up to maybe 11 for Vancouver and what that'll get done, not to be a jerk, but we've answered that numerous times. So go back to our last couple.
Point you to the last few mailbags.
Of mailbag episodes, and you can, if you missed them, we've answered that form of question at least 3 or 4 times. So if you ask that again this week, we're not ignoring you, we're not skipping you. We've just gone over those scenarios too.
Looking for fresh things
to
discuss.
So we are going to get rolling here. We've got our guy Kevin Wells. You may remember him from the voice of many Blackhawks intermission shows this past year on WGN. Lead us to our first question there, Mr. Wells.
Let's do it. From Todd Welter, can I ask which player you hope falls out of the first round and is available at 35? Mario and Greg, or how many centers and wings should this team come away with in this draft?
All of them.
Forward depth is something that the Blackhawks definitely could still use. I know last year it was 9 of the 11 picks that they used were on forwards, and it was a great job to get in guys that fit the mold that Kyle Davidson's looking to get, but not a lot of them outside of Frank Nazar are those like top elite players. So I would expect both first round picks to be used on forwards this year. If they get into the first round for a third time, maybe you talk about one of those top end defensemen, but their first 2 picks, probably first 3 picks, should all be forwards. One that I think has a chance of falling out of the first round and still being available at 35 is Gavin Brindley. There's you look at a lot of different mock drafts and rankings and things like that across the board. Now, as we get to a lot of outlets are putting out their final rankings. He's anywhere between the low 20s and the low 40s. So there's not really a consensus on where Brindley could fall in the draft. But I think he's a super competitive player. He has a great scoring touch. Played at a stacked program in Michigan, so he's played with Adam Fantilli and Frank Nazar for a little bit. Mackie Samoskevich and just the Rutger McGorty, like the forward group that Michigan had. He played along in that group, was a big contributor, and outside of teammate Adam Fantilli, he was the second highest scoring and college player who was a U18 draft eligible player. So besides the guy who's going to go number 2, it was Gavin Brindley. So that's a guy who I think it would be fantastic if he's there at 35. That would really, to me, seem like a good pick. I know he's a little undersized, but not every forward that you need to get needs to be 6'3", 6'2".
Right. That's a guy that I would actually not have any problems with if they do pick 19 and they take him. I mean,
sure,
I would have no issues there. It's so tough to like guess guys who are going to slide down. This year is
Matvei Vimshkov at
yeah.
35.
Sure. I'm for it. And we don't know where the Hawks are going to pick.
Yeah.
We don't know if that 19 pick is happening. Are they going to move up? Are they going to use that to get other things? Are they picking 35? Is that going to get packaged with 19 to move up? So if everything falls into place and they package it at 35, a guy would love to see there. And again, the craziness of that draft. Like, we don't know. After Bedard and Fantilli, that's where it's going to get fun. Like, Carlson probably will be third, but you never know.
Could be Michkov, could be Will
Michkov.
Smith.
Michkov, who knows where he's going. I don't think he's getting past 8 in the Capitals.
No.
But, you never know. A guy that I could see he's picked right now to get, very late first round, could fall down, is the guy that when we had our episode last week about, who's your guy, it was one of the guys I mentioned for one of those second-round picks, is Danny Nelson out of the U.S. development program. He's a center. They need some more depth down the middle, and he's got some size. They need that too because, say Bedard's going to be a center, not the biggest player in the world. Frank Nazar, not the biggest player in the world. Lukas Reichel, if he's going to be a center, he's got some height, but he still needs to get some beef.
I always say he's built like a tennis player. Like he's lean and lanky.
He's gazelle-like out
there.
So you need some, and Nelson's over 6 foot. I think he's 6'2" or 6'3". He's kind of like that old school power forward, can score. So if he's there at 35, I'm jumping all over Danny Nelson.
Nate in our chat says Bradley Nadeau is another one that I keep seeing pop up a lot in the late first, early second round rankings. Yeah, I mean, and to your point, like there's so much shifting around that could happen. Like they may not pick at 19, but they may jump into the first round for a third time and pick in the late 20s, or maybe get one of the last few picks of the draft, or that number 35 pick isn't there, but they still have 19. So it's just there's a lot of movement that probably you can expect to see given what Kyle Davison has said. So yeah, the options are out there. I think no matter what they do, who they pick, unless they go way off the board, which I don't expect to happen given how many picks they have in those first 2 rounds, they're going to get someone real good.
Yeah, and my guess is they're going to try and draft for size with some of those second round picks, third round picks. They want to get bigger.
Yeah.
While size isn't the be all end all, a lot of their top prospects are on the smaller size. So you need to get some dynamic players that have a little size to them as well. I think a nice mix.
I think those second and third round picks are where you're going to see like a lot of what happened last year. You're going to see those guys that are high end skaters, high end compete level. A lot of those like depth players that hopefully, if everything goes well, play like key role players on competitive teams.
Yep.
That would be great to see.
You need a lot of those guys.
What we got next?
All right, question number 2, George Slater. Assuming he is the first overall pick and assuming he stays healthy, will Connor Bedard be the Blackhawks All-Star Game representative in Toronto? All signs point to yes.
Just answers your own question, George. Thank you.
I mean,
he'll be there regardless, right? The Rising Stars or something,
Though, yeah, if he's not having an All-Star caliber season, or someone else is playing much better than him.
It's fan vote, though, right? If it's fan vote, Connor Bedard's going.
Yeah, he's going to be there in some capacity.
He'll be at the skills challenge at the very least. The league is going to want to put the spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you look up and down the lineup. The reason Seth Jones was at the All-Star Game last year is because the NHL has the rule where everyone gets a representative.
Yeah.
If everyone needs a representative, it's going to be Connor Bedard because you absolutely are going to have him play in your All-Star Game one way, shape, or form. And even besides the, one player from each team has to be there, I don't know. I feel pretty confident saying he's going to be deserving of, being on that stage, being voted into an All-Star weekend. Like, I can't see that not happening.
Yeah, I agree. I think his play alone should be enough. But even, if he's having a ridiculous, if someone else has a breakout year, if Lukas Reichel has that year that has a breakout
maybe they both
performance, maybe Seth Jones can't be denied another All-Star Game visit. But if the fans are voting, and every team needs at least one rep. As long as he's healthy, he will be in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt with that one. Next.
All right, question number 3. Let's stick with the All-Star Game category. Yeah. Kevin Carew, it's hard to believe we haven't hosted an All-Star Game for 32 years, with the Hawks slowly making their way towards relevance again. Do you think we will get awarded the game anytime soon?
Mark it down. The 2026 All-Star Game will be in Chicago. I can almost guarantee it. It's the Blackhawks' 100th anniversary season. It's their centennial season. It's going to be a season-long celebration of the history of the Blackhawks. Why would the league put it anywhere else but Chicago for that? They did it in Montreal for the 100-year. Like, it's the perfect chance to do it. Celebrate one of your original 6 teams. Give them the All-Star Game in 2026. It seems like a no-brainer. Give the AHL All-Star Game to Rockford. Have them both have the organization host it all at the same time.
That'll be fun.
That would be a lot of fun. So that's even too easy of a call for even the NHL, the Galaxy brand, I think.
Yeah, and
it's great timing because the Hawks are going to be right on the cusp of being important again. Hopefully by 25-26 that season, that's the season where the Hawks are ready to make a run at a playoff spot.
That'd be nice.
You'll have Connor Bedard on year 3. You know,
middle of year 3.
You'll have some of these other. Korchinski will hopefully be here. Allen, they'll be productive players. Nazar, some of these guys were drafted this year and last year. You're going to have a team similar to that 08-09 Blackhawks team on your hands. Perfect time to do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It is crazy that the Blackhawks and Chicago, not since 1991, have not hosted the All-Star Game. Like, you would have thought even in the, that modern cup run, they would have had one. I know they were getting all the outdoor games, but like the All-Star Weekend in Chicago, I know it's not, it's not the destination of, South Beach in the middle of February, but there's tons of fun things to do here in the city. Even if it's cold weather, like it's Chicago is a huge attraction city. It's obviously it's the original 6 market. Like selling Chicago on the players of being like, yeah, it's All-Star Weekend, it's in Chicago. Like, there's plenty to do this to sell to the players that this is a good idea. There's plenty of do for fans to come and have a good time throughout the weekend. And then United Center, it's a huge facility, one of the biggest in the NHL. You'll definitely be able to pack it, especially since likely Connor Bedard's going to be 3-time All-Star at that point, hopefully. I don't think there's any reason not for the NHL to not look at that.
Our buddy Chris Dubiel says that's also going to be the Rangers' centennial season. So
okay, well, but whatever.
As I've said many times on these airwaves, piss on the Rangers. Give the Blackhawks. They don't have Connor Bedard.
Yeah,
they're going to have a bunch of old. They're going to have 40-year-old Patrick Kane with his piano on his back, skating up and down the ice. Give it to Chicago.
A resurfaced tip.
Yeah.
I would love to see it in Chicago. I know. How far do they have it planned out? Is it just next year?
You would,
because I know next year's in Toronto.
Right. I don't know, to be honest.
I don't think they have it that far planned out. Knowing the
foresight of the NHL, they probably have it just for next year, and they haven't.
Likely.
But you would have to believe that Danny Wirtz and company have already been trying to plant those seeds with the league office. Like, this is our 100th year. We're going to be doing this Ring of Honor thing. Not saying that's what's happening, but just saying we've got all these special events planned for this season. Let's cap it off with an All-Star Game. But the Rangers could be doing the same thing too. But they could wait. The Rangers, we don't care.
Here it is. 2023 NHL All-Star Game in Florida. 2024
last year.
Not yet announced. 2025.
Toronto. So they're going year by year. It's in Toronto next year. Who knows? Maybe they do 2025. Maybe that's New York or Chicago. Maybe 2026 is New York or Chicago. If they want to try and go that way, I
wouldn't be shocked if 2025 would be Seattle, but they're getting one of those outdoor games. So
yeah. I mean, hey, keep Chicago out of the outdoor games for a few years, and then give them the All-Star Weekend. That's fine with me too. They don't win outside anyways. Just
No, we
just
don't
one
want
time.
that. Yeah, except when we beat the Penguins. See,
Yeah.
we like beating the Penguins.
Yeah, beating the Penguins is fun. All right, what's next?
All right, we've answered this one a couple of times. Just real quick, what do you think Connor Bedard rookie points over under should be? From Alberto Vitali.
Well, Alberto, I could give you a more educated guess come September when I know who he's playing with, but I'm not going to go crazy. I would think an over if I put the over under somewhere around like 65 points. Like if he hits 65 points, I'm going to say that's a very successful NHL rookie season. I think a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to have 100 points, and he's going to break Teemu Selanne's rookie goal record. I'm going to pump the brakes on all of that. Yeah. So I would put it around. I would put the over under at 65, and maybe bet the over on that. But anything 65 or more to me is a very successful, very good rookie season to build off of.
Here are the top 10 rookie scoring seasons since 2009-2010. Number 10, Jeff Skinner, 63 points. Number 9, Johnny Gaudreau, 64 points. Number 8, Yanni Gourde, 64 points. Number 7, Mark Stone, 64 points. Patrick Laine, number 6, 64 points. Clayton Keller, number 5, 65 points. Elias Pettersson, number 4, 66 points. Number 3, Austin Matthews with a very nice 69 points.
Nice.
Artemi Panarin, you remember him. Number 2 with 77, and number 1 is Matthew Barzal with 85, and that was in the 2017-18 season. So, in the last 12, 13 years, that mid-60s range seems to be a pretty good benchmark for some high-scoring rookies. Yeah, I would say 65. If he's in that 65-70 range, I would like to say that he's got enough talent to where even if it's just him and Reichel and the group that they have now, I would like to think he can still score at that kind of rate, given what everyone expects him to do. Being able to watch him, coming up in his draft year in the last few years in the WHL, like I think the talent is just there. If the Blackhawks do anything to help insulate him, maybe get a free agent or two or a trade piece or two to really improve the lineup exponentially going into this season, then I think that number jumps a little bit higher. But I think even as the roster is constructed right now, if he's in a 65 to 70 point range as a rookie, like,
yeah,
I think that's doable.
I think his point total is going to depend on his assists. I think 30 goals as a rookie in the NHL is reasonable for a kid of his talent.
Yeah.
So where is he going to get 35 plus assists from? That's where the points could get a little tricky. Like you mentioned, Austin Matthews had 69 very nice points, but what do you have, 40 goals?
40 goals that year, yeah.
So, he wasn't much of a passer then. He's still not much anyway, but
yeah,
but you look at Panarin, what was his numbers?
77.
77 points. Yeah. And that was playing on Patrick Kane's line during his Hart Trophy 100-point season.
Yep.
So that just goes to show you, like Panarin, and it was a little older and more experienced, but Panarin had 77 points playing on Patrick Kane's wing during his career best year. Mm-hmm. So it took Kane scoring a bunch of goals and feeding him the puck a lot to get him to 77.
Yeah.
There's no Hart Trophy winning Patrick Kane on this lineup for Connor Bedard to help with.
That's
so
true.
I think the 65-point range is a good expectation to have where you won't get disappointed if he doesn't hit your expectations.
Matthew Barzal in that 2017-18 season, 85 points, 63 of those were assists. That's impressive.
That's very impressive. Patrick Kane, as Lebowski 5 says, had 72 in his rookie season, and Kane had a ton of talented teammates. Connor Bedard's a better goal scorer than Patrick Kane, though, especially at that point of his career.
At this point of his career, yeah. I mean, we've talked to a number of different draft analysts and Cam Robinson with Elite Prospects. We go to him a lot for our different analysis and insight, and he says basically besides Austin Matthews, Connor Bedard's shot is almost second to none as a draft eligible prospect, and pretty much in the as far as NHL talent goes. Like that's something to be said, and we've seen it. We've seen all the highlights throughout the World Juniors, throughout his years in the WHL, like his shot is his biggest asset. And when you have something like that, even a mid-level prospect, look at a guy like, we've talked about in this draft class a lot, Matthew Wood has one of the best shots in the draft class, and his skating is rated one of the lowest. He's still expected to be a first-round pick on his shot and shooting ability, scoring ability alone. So a guy like Bedard, who has that elite level ability to jump right into the NHL, I think scoring goals is not going to be a problem for him. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what his assist numbers end up being, who he's feeding. Maybe it's Lukas Reichel, maybe it's Max Domi, maybe it's Taylor Radish. Hey, career year Taylor Radish. How about that? That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
All right. Well, before we get to our next question, let's take a pause and pay some bills here and tell you about our good friends at Shady Rays. You're going to be able to take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at a very affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good, but I say even better than any expensive pair of sunglasses I've ever worn. I've been a customer of Shady Rays long before CHGO even was a thing, and they became our sponsor. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for your outdoor adventures, like driving home on rush hour traffic when we get out of here. That's the only outdoor adventures I have this week planned. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on the very first day, they told us they're going to send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And you're going to look great and feel great because together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the United States through the Shady Rays Impact Program. They're doing everything from building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with the MS outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others just like it now and for years to come. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, but you're gonna, but in case you don't, but you're gonna exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There is absolutely no risk when you shop. And exclusively for our lovely, beautiful CHGO listeners, Shady Rays is giving you guys and girls the best deal of the season. Go to ShadyRays.com, use the promo code CHGO, and you're going to get 50% off all orders with 2 or more pair of their awesome polarized sunglasses. That's buy one, get one free, according to my math. Mm-hmm. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And
a lot of stars.
Sunglasses, you need your sunglasses in the warm weather, and you also need your air conditioning in the warm weather. And if you're looking to not only save money on your awesome sunglasses, but save money on your energy costs, well, our friends at the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
You're absolutely right, Greg. ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across their territories. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
Mario, can you please tell Kevin how that works?
I will. Kevin, an authorized engineer, will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. And within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. So if you own a business, Kevin, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy, or as we call it, Monergy, today. For energy-saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz as like B-I-Z?
As in B-I-Z, wow. Correct. Yes, ComEd.com/poweringbiz. Go there and schedule your appointments today.
After this show ends, please.
After the show.
Yes.
Of course, after the show.
All right, now that we have Kevin's attention again, let's get on to the next question.
I am a proponent of that ComEd energy efficiency program. I do
We
have
all
it
are.
at my house.
There you go.
It's a great one.
Yep.
All right, let's get back
Save
to
yourself some energy.
We're at Mike, the Blackhawks fan. Which of the current prospects in the Hawks system do you think signs an ELC next?
Well, I know who is. He's not currently in the system, but the next guy signing an entry-level contest is going to be Connor Bedard.
Yeah,
after that,
your best bet. Yeah. I was actually a bit surprised that all signs pointed to Samuel Savoie once the season for him was over, being the next guy to sign an ELC. I know this offseason they signed guys like Paul Ludwinski, and Drew Comezzo got one. Antti Sorella got one. So I was expecting Savoie to kind of be part of that group to be signed. Doesn't necessarily mean once you sign it you're now jumping to pros. You can be signed and play in junior still. So I was expecting him to be signed. He hasn't yet, but that's who I'm putting money on of guys in the system right now. That will get a deal. And hey, maybe it waits till we get to prospect and training camp, and then they see what they saw.
Yeah.
Last summer and last fall, the way he played this year. I think all signs point to him being a guy that if he continues on this path, he's going to be one of those really effective depth and role players. And one of those guys that they don't really have a lot of in their prospect system are those players who can get under the skin of an opponent. And you see, players that the Blackhawks had in previous cup runs and previous contending teams, they had guys like that. And you look at a lot of the teams that have success now, while the Blackhawks are not. I'm not saying Samuel Savoie is going to be Matthew Tkachuk, but look at what Matthew Tkachuk can do outside of scoring goals and being a point producer that agitates the opponent. And I think that's something that Savoie has said he loves to do, and that's something you can't teach in players. So I think he's going to be a guy that the Blackhawks will likely sign soon, if not next.
Yeah, that could be. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you got to get a Tyler Pertuzzi or Max Domi to protect Connor Bedard." Maybe they already have him in Samuel Savoie.
Could be.
If he becomes, you mentioned Matthew Tkachuk, and that's probably not. I knew where you were going.
That's not the play he's going to be.
Right.
But
the guy that on that Panthers team, though, who I'd be thrilled if he becomes Ryan Lomberg, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's the type of guy that he could become. And, yeah, he's probably the most likely of that group to get one. There are probably some players that are maybe a little closer to becoming pros, but they're in college, like your Ryan Greens. You don't want to give them those deals because, once they sign, they no longer can play in college.
Right,
so, Frank Nazar is another guy that doesn't have that deal yet because he still needs to be, quote, an amateur to play in college.
Right.
Savoie is probably the most likely candidate, and maybe it happens. Maybe they're just waiting until the draft and free agency to make that move because you got to remember you only have a limit of 50 contracts total. Mm-hmm. So maybe they need to make.
His would slide, but because he'll play in junior.
Yeah.
But yes, your point is correct.
You probably want to. There's some maneuvering and there's reasonings why some guys sign in 1 year and other guys are going to sign this year or even the next year. You've got to kind of. You don't want all your young talent to have their contracts all due at the same time.
Right. No.
Because that's going to get you in trouble real quick. All right, Kevin.
All right, we're going to stay on the same topic. Do you think the Blackhawks will be competitive, a playoff hunt team by the end of Bedard's entry-level contract?
Yeah.
So that would be that
big
20.
wags.
That'd be that 25-26 season.
I would hope so. That would be the season that you have a realistic shot at getting at least a wild card spot. Bedard will be in season number 3. Mm-hmm. Korchinski and Allen Del Mastro will hopefully be the core of a very good up-and-coming young defensive unit. Nazar, Reichel hopefully is taking that next step and is a top 6 player. And then you'll have other guys. You'll have guys that, get drafted this year that are hopefully making an impact. And next year, and then, who knows what free agents are brought in here. Connor Bedard's going to get a lot of guys, top players, looking to come here over the next couple of summers. So I would hope by the end of his, season 3 of Connor Bedard, the Blackhawks are either right on the doorstep of a playoff spot, or maybe that's the season they sneak in at a 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
You never know, Dallas isn't getting,
younger.
They've got a decent young core, but some of their top players were probably long gone by then. Colorado, who knows where they'll be at that point. They're a team that has put in a lot of resources to keep this championship run alive. So once this core starts to slow down, that might be it for a while. Winnipeg, who knows what's going on with them for the foreseeable future. Nashville's always stuck in the mud. Minnesota's always stuck in the mud.
I saw people are saying that Connor Hellebuck might be traded.
Well, he's got 1 year left, I think. And
talk about blowing it up.
If you're going to rebuild,
yeesh. Okay.
What's the point of having an all-world goalie if your team stinks around him?
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying Connor Hellebuck out on the market. Hey, that moves your needle a little bit.
Yeah. So I would think that last season would be the one where we could start squinting and maybe seeing some playoff hockey.
I'm hoping it's earlier, because here are the players that would be due new contracts after that 25-26 season. Paul Ludwinski, Colton Dock, Kevin Korchinski, Ethan Del Mastro, Nolan Allen, Drew Comezzo, and yes, Connor Bedard, because it was ELC. All those players' ELCs will be done by the end of that 25-26 season. And if we're not talking about a team that is a real playoff contender at that point, you get a little itchy.
Yeah, the only exception to that list is Korchinski could be slid to the next year if he doesn't play
That's
this
true.
year.
He could slide.
But, yeah. And I think all signs are pointing to him not playing in the NHL this season. At least not for...
Not burning that first year. I would hope that that's one guy that they're thinking.
And because that list you just read is the biggest reason why. It has nothing to do with him needing the development.
Right.
It's because of what you just read right there.
Yeah, I would hate for all of those guys to need extensions at the same time, because if things all go according to plan, that's going to be a very expensive summer, and that means that probably one of those guys, because of the NHL of how they operate with their salary cap and how they can't make the salary cap jump more than $1 million per year because they're in poverty league. One of those players might be a cap casualty.
Yep.
So I'm hoping by that 25-26 season we are talking about a legit playoff contender. Doesn't need to be a cup contender, but a team that you can say, yep, they will find their way into the postseason.
Yep.
I'm hoping. All right, Kevin, what's next?
All righty, from Tristan, how do you think Luke Richardson will use Bedard? Is he going to put him in the 1C role right away, top line center, or stash him on the second line?
No matter what line Connor Bedard is slotted into on the whiteboard, it is your top line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think they're going to give him a look at center to start, and why the heck not? Unless in the training camp and preseason he just looks completely lost, he'll start the season at center.
Yeah.
And no matter if Luke Richardson calls it first line, second line, third line, or fourth line, Connor Bedard, whatever line Connor Bedard is on, is your top line.
Yeah. And you look at the center depth that they have, who's pushing him out of that spot right away? I don't see anybody doing that, unless the only person I would say that you would have as a top line center besides Connor Bedard, I don't think there's anyone that you could even bring in free agency.
Not unless you make some sort of trade or something.
Yeah, or if you make a trade for someone who's already an established, top end center, which that's not the plan.
Right.
So if you sign a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, or bring back Max Domi or in free agency or anything like that, Bedard is going to be the marquee line where however he's playing on it. So yeah, I think they're going to play him at center. The opening night, the opening lineup, he's gonna be out there. He's gonna be taking that.
When Gene Honda makes his announcement, it's going to be number 98 at center.
Yeah,
Connor Bedard.
Yeah. The first puck 100%. Drop of the year.
Yep.
He's
taking the opening face off.
Yeah, he has to.
And if he loses it, I'm going to call him a bust.
Sure.
Just kidding.
Absolutely bust.
Just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, and you know, Reichel too. He's kind of in that same boat between center or wing. So we'll see how they're deployed. But yeah, I have faith in Luke Richardson that he'll be able to, you know, make the decision, see what works, see what isn't working. You know, he got creative last year. He used Andres Athanasiou, who had never played center before, as a center in the last portion of the season, and it worked out pretty well for Andres Athanasiou.
Yeah, outside of that first 0 for 8 face-off
the first game, first game was rough.
Got better,
but yeah.
And there's the thing, I could totally see him putting Bedard at center, but putting another guy that can win face-offs on his wing. Like if they re-sign Max Domi will be on his line.
Sure.
And Max Domi proved last year that he was really good at face-offs. So if Bedard is struggling on a night, you can put Domi in there to take the draws in the offensive end, or if he gets thrown out, you have another guy there. So yeah, Luke Richardson will make it as easy as possible for Connor Bedard, where he doesn't have to think too much on the ice.
Well, and you look at other guys that he could be paired with who have played center before: Tyler Johnson, Jason Dickinson, Cole Gutman, Colin Blackwell, Mackenzie Entwistle, Reese Johnson, and Philip Kurashev all have had time at center. So you mix and match the lineups a little bit. You could have Kurashev with Reichel, with Bedard. You have Kurashev, Reichel, Bedard as a line, and all three of those guys are either centers or wings. One of them's got to figure it out.
If they bring back Domi, I think a great first line would be Domi, Bedard, Kurashev.
Yeah, I like that.
Not the biggest of lines, but
I like that.
They're dynamic.
Yeah,
each guy brings something different to that line.
Kurashev can play responsively, defensively, and chip in offensively too. Domi is a guy that can play a 200-foot game. We saw it last season.
He's gonna go get the puck.
He's gonna play hard, go get the puck, go into the corners, be a physical presence. And then you got Bedard, who his defensive game is underrated just because of how well he plays offensively. So
he rarely ever has to play defense.
Right, yeah. So
he always has the puck.
I think that'll be one thing about him that I think we might be surprised at early on is his defensive abilities.
And based on all those things we've heard from him and read about him, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to pride himself on the defense and want to be known as a complete player, not just a superstar goal scorer, point producer. He's going to want to be like, all right, people underestimate me. I want to win all this stuff, but maybe I'm going to go one of these years. I'm going to try and win the Hart and the Selke in the same year. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be that good, great? But based on all the things we've heard about his work ethic and his passion and everything, he seems like a player that's going to say, you don't think I can play defense? Just watch.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not all of the, super skilled forwards are inept defensively. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Patrick Kane, but I think his defensive responsibility, I think the way he plays defensively is at this point in his career already better than Patrick Kane, and probably better than Patrick Kane as a rookie and now.
Well, let's be honest, that's a low bar to cross.
I know it's a low bar to cross, but I mean, look at the Selke finalists this year, Mitch Marner. Like he's a skilled offensive point producer, but on the wing, like being a Selke finalist, being a guy who can put up a 100-point season, like that's pretty darn impressive. And I think, I'm not saying Bedard will ever win a Selke or be a finalist, but maybe that's something that he can put his mind to and say, hey, I'm going to go out there and try and do pretty much everything that I can to help my team win. That seems to be the character he has.
Maybe when he's insulated with some more scoring around him and he figures, okay, I don't have to do it all offensively anymore.
Yeah, maybe that brings out something else.
I can concentrate and look at what for Marner,
Yeah.
They had more support there. He still had a huge offensive year, but yeah, that's be interesting to track as it goes on. I'm looking forward, because I'll be first to tell you, I haven't seen a lot of outside of like World Juniors. I haven't seen a lot of like from opening face-off to final horn Connor Bedard games. It's mostly highlights, stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to watch him from the press box when he doesn't have the puck. That's what I want to see, how he plays. And I'm so intrigued with that. I know what he can do when he has the puck. I want to see what he does when he does it, both in the offensive zone and in the defensive zone. Should be fun to watch.
It's going to be fun to watch for sure. What's next, Kevin?
All right. 2 girls, 1 puck. We've talked a lot about the free agents they should look into. Which free agents shouldn't the Hawks sign?
All of them. This class stinks. No.
It's not a good class compared to what's potentially coming up in the next 2 summers. Yes. I mean, we've talked about Tyler Bertuzzi a lot.
Yeah,
I think that's someone that we are kind of consensusly
I want nothing to do with him.
trying to say that, don't necessarily need him. One guy that is interesting, but I think I would stay away just because, I think his reputation hurts him a bit, even though he is an effective player, and that's Michael Bunting. Like he had a come up in Toronto as this, a point producer, 2-way guy, physical, feisty, likes to get in your face. And I know we just talked about, how guys like Matthew Tkachuk, and we talked about Savoie and like how they like to do that. But I think Bunting went to a point where now the referees look for him to do some stupid stuff and call him on it because of, things that he's tried to get away with and how he's perceived by the referees. So as much as of an effective player he can be, I think he hurts his team at times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's necessarily his fault all the time. It might just be his reputation preceding him. So that's actually one guy that I would say, if the Blackhawks do not target, I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm not, and plus, I don't know how much Michael Bunting produces not playing on a line with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews. Though we said that about Zach Heyman, and he's done. But he goes from playing
to the Oilers
to playing with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid.
Yep.
Talk about just hitting the jackpot twice in your career. But yeah, Bunting is a guy. I mean, there's not a lot of guys on this list I'm craving to have, and I don't think they're going to shoot a giant shot here in off season. The one guy I would stay clear of. And I'm sure he could be had for very cheap, and it's a low risk contract. But I don't want anything to do with Jonathan Drouin. Jonathan Drouin. There's just nothing there. He's been on a million teams. He was a number 3 overall pick.
Yeah,
he's bounced around. He just hasn't been able to find it anywhere. And sure, what is it? When you bring him in here, what does he do? He doesn't really move the needle one way or the other, and he could be a guy that may have finally figure it out, and you could get something for him. But to me, he's just taking up a roster spot for somebody that actually might stick around and be important in a couple of years. So that's who I stay away from on that one. I mean, there's a lot of guys on this list I want nothing to do with.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
I mean, pretty much almost this entire list doesn't do a whole lot for me. Like, there are a couple of guys that I wouldn't mind. Like Sean Monahan's an interesting guy.
If he could stay healthy, yeah.
That's about it. Alex Killorn, I like him.
Yeah.
That could be a guy that, could be one of those mentors. JT Comfort is a guy that a lot of people like and makes sense. Lars Eller is a guy that I would target if he's interested. But, yeah, there's not a lot on this class I'm going crazy over because it's not a very good free agent class.
You know what's interesting with Duran? His best 2 seasons came with Luke Richardson behind the bench in Montreal as an assistant coach.
Don't say that.
It was reason enough. It was reason enough for Max Domi to come back.
But that's
or
all right.
to come to Chicago. I don't know.
We like Max Domi. He's actually good at hockey.
Duran's one of those interesting guys where, like, he could be really cheap because of production, but you just look at like this. The skill set has to be there, right? Like the skill set, I think is there. I think it's just been a health. He's had health issues. He's had issues with consistency. I just wonder if I don't know. He's an interesting guy, but I'm also you have very valid points of not really needing to throw the dice and take a risk on him either. So.
All right, sounds good.
All righty. From Rainman MP, what's a change of scenery option you'd like to see the Blackhawks trade for? Like Dylan Strome in the past. Doesn't need to be an NHL player. Could just be a prospect buried down someone else's depth chart.
I like the idea of going after a player like Alex Turcotte, in theory. In practice, I mean, that's a guy that I don't think the Kings are looking to really get rid of. And, kind of the worries that, you have with young players and concussions early on in their career. He's had 2 significant ones, even before really touching the NHL ice consistently. So that's a guy that I think in theory would make a lot of sense. Chicagoland area, plays center, has decent size, young player, might just be buried in the Kings organization, but I don't think the Kings are looking to get rid of him. I think the Kings still are holding on hope that he is going to become something for their organization. But that's one guy that keeps popping up for me that I'm like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, he would fill. I mean, he's a center by trade, correct?
Yes.
So that would fill a need. But giving up on young centers is not something you really should get into the habit of. But doesn't hurt to ask.
Right, of course.
But the Kings are an up-and-coming team, too. So, they may be looking to keep him. There's a lot of those types of candidates. Everybody's going to talk about the 2 guys in New York, Lafreniere, and I'm so tired of hearing about those guys. I don't want any of them. I've heard about them so much that I'm just like, I don't want either of those guys. I don't care how good they are. And I don't think either of them are superstars to where they were drafted at.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Rangers are trading either one of those, but especially with a new coach, they would be wise to hire a coach that's good at bringing out the most in young talent. Some of the names that flying around is the exact opposite of that. Peter Laviolette is a guy that's getting mentioned there. Now there's chatter of Patrick Waugh. I mean, there was Patrick Waugh chatter for Columbus, and boy, did Columbus appears ready to step in a giant pile of dog crap with their next hire.
Yeah.
So, those guys are tough to read. As far as like established guys, a lot of guys will talk about Brock Besser, and that if he's available, I think a change of scenery could do work wonders for him. If he's out there, or Connor Garland, we've talked about those guys in Vancouver a lot. If either of those guys are out there and it makes sense, you go out and get one of those guys. Before we get to our next question, we should probably tell all of our wonderful folks how they can make their man caves or she sheds look like our wonderful set here.
Yes, well, they can do that with the help of our friends over at FOCO. That is FOCO. They are some of the best, if not the best, in sports memorabilia and collectibles. As Greg said, you can check out our set and look at all the amazing collectibles and little bobbleheads and all that. A lot of them came from our friends at FOCO. They have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Anything that you want your favorite team logo to be put on, they can do it. They can get it to you, and they can make your entertaining space or your home office or your office at your office. They can get it decked out looking good. It's spring, summer, baseball. That's what it's. That's the season it is now. Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a good old tailgate. FOCO can get you fitted out with the best sports gear around. And what you want to do is go to FOCO.com, or you can click the link in the description below and use the promo code CHGO. When you do that, you're going to get 10% off of all non-presale items. Again, that's FOCO.com, FOCO. And that is the promo code CHGO for 10% off of all non-presale items.
Hey, are you so excited about the Blackhawks drafting first overall in Nashville at the end of the month that you're going to go to Nashville to be there for that historic moment? Well, we're going to be there. So we're hoping those of you who are going down to Nashville are going to join us. We've got a special event. We actually just finalized the details today.
Confirmed this morning.
Yes, on Tuesday, June 27th, the day before the first round of the draft, we are going to be at the Hopsmith Nashville for an all-exclusive happy hour. with our lovely CHGO diehards and listeners, you're going to get 3 hours of all-inclusive open bar. Get yourself nice and liquefied on a hot summer day in Nashville. I believe this will be going from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern, so Nashville time, 1 to 4 at Hopsmith, Nashville. Not only are you going to be hanging out with myself, Mario, and Jay, talking hockey, talking Connor Bedard, talking music. We're in Music City. Yeah. You're going to get those 3 hours of open bar. You're going to get appetizers to eat, and you're going to get our brand new CHGO hockey shirt, which is dropping officially around 6:02 p.m. on June 28th. I wonder what the theme of this shirt might be.
Yes.
But you're going to be one of the first to get it because every ticket includes
comes with that shirt.
One of those shirts that will ship out to you. So when you return from Nashville, you're going to have your awesome new CHGO hockey shirt. I wonder what the theme might be of that one.
Yeah.
So head over to allchgo.com, click on the events tab. And as always, diehard members are going to get 20% off the ticket price. So if you're not a diehard, now's the perfect time. Sign up. You're going to get a free T-shirt of your choice. You're going to get 20% off tickets for this, where you're going to get another free shirt. So that's 2 free shirts plus the 3 hours of open bar. You're going to save money. You're literally paying for your membership with what you're going to get from just this one event. So join us in Nashville. If you're coming down, come see us at the Hopsmith Nashville Tuesday, June 27th for our happy hour, which is actually 3 hours, 1 to 4 p.m. We can't wait to see all you guys down there.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just looking at it now, this Hopsmith brewery or tavern, whatever it's called. It looks like was somebody's house.
Yeah, it's a very cool picture.
It's a cool looking place. If it didn't say big giant letters Hopsmith, you'd think it was just kind of like a nice Nashville mansion. But it's a really cool looking place. Really excited for that. That's going to be Tuesday afternoon before the first round. And I'm really excited to see the new CHGO hockey T-shirt design that you will get with your ticket purchase. I'm so excited to see what the great people in our merchandise and design department have come up with. We've had a year to spitball what the design could be, and now we actually get to see it come to fruition. So very excited to see what that's going to be. It's going to look great. It's going to be a good time in Nashville. It's hard to have a bad time in Nashville, but sign up, get this ticket, come out, hang out with us. It's guaranteed to be a good time. We can all say where we were the day before the Blackhawks had the top overall pick in the 2023 draft.
3 hours of open bar. Some people may not remember where they were
the day
before. If that's not enough, our All-City crew, our PHNX Coyotes crew is going to be down there too. That Tuesday night, they're doing an all-inclusive pontoon boat cruise that evening.
Hey.
So if 3 hours of booze is not enough for you, you can go on a booze cruise with our PHNX colleagues.
You guys need a spare producer?
Hey, I don't get to make those calls.
That's not our decision.
I mean, if there is one producer here who's slated to go, if he gets some sort of airborne illness the day before,
or someone takes a pipe to his knee or something like that, gets
I'm
Nancy
not
Kerrigan.
saying, but I'm just saying
there could be an opening. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold you
I'm
guys
not
to that.
advocating for Kevin to cane Steven in the knee or anything, but
no. But I would understand if he did.
There's ways to make that trip happen for you, Kevin. PHNX, they got the boat cruise. They got the wine tasting on Thursday that's going on. They're going to have a good old time down there. And so are we. So come out and see us on Tuesday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Show up to the pontoon boat. And yes, Rick 89, it is for 21 and only. 21 and over, obviously.
Because we're going to a bar with drinks. You can't. I know Nashville is pretty wild and crazy, but it's not that wild and crazy.
I'm not sure what DNVR is doing. They don't have a lot of picks. We know they are sending some of their crew.
The crew's going to be down there in Nashville as well.
Any special events?
Not sure about that. No. But I mean, we haven't seen anything from the AllCITY crew.
Yeah, they might be doing something.
Except for our event and PHNX events. But hey, maybe Denver throws something together. That would be fun for them. They have one pick in the first round, and then the next pick is in the fourth round, I think.
Yeah, so
they got some time off.
Yeah. Well, they're good. They need it. They had to deal with a long, boring season.
Apparently.
Yeah. All right, we've got time for one, maybe
Couple
two more
more.
questions.
Yeah, all right,
We'll
let's
rapid
get to
fire
those.
these.
I know what the shirt's not going to say, and this is a question about Jonathan Toews, the new shirt that's coming out. Do you guys think Captain Toews will be back, or is he fully done? Now, he's not going to be back in Hawks uniform.
He's not gonna be back.
obviously, But is he fully done in his career?
I think he's going to retire. I really do think he's going to retire.
I do too.
I think that last game was his last game.
It sure felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
It sure felt like a guy that was not just his last game in Chicago, but his last game. I think his body is screaming at him, enough is enough. But you never know.
Yeah.
He's got that competitive drive that not many people have. But I would think if it's going to be the end, we're going to hear about it soon-ish. I don't think he's going to go into July 1st. I don't think he's going to sign with a team if he can't do it. Maybe a team doesn't sign him until right before training camp if he doesn't make an announcement.
That could be, yeah.
Or maybe he gets the Brian Urlacher treatment and he's basically told he has to retire because nobody signs you. I don't know. If he says he's got something left in the tank, somebody's going to sign him.
A team will believe him, yes.
But it may. I don't expect him to be signed on July 1st. If he, I don't think he'll know if he's even ready to play. He may be ready to know I'm done, but he may not have made that decision.
Your thoughts on the athletic surveys that ranked the Hawks TV announcing crew as dead last? Hard to be thought of as worse than Boston. What needs to be fixed?
So this is what I'll say about this. It's a fan survey, and it's no mystery that fans were upset with the broadcasting changes made by the Blackhawks heading into this season. It did not help that Eddie Olczyk also was gone. We knew Pat Foley was going to be gone. We weren't prepared until it was announced last summer that Eddie Olczyk also wouldn't be part of the group, and that also meant that Nick Olczyk left the broadcasting group as well. So Chris Vosters, Troy Murray, Patrick Sharp, they were the rotating trio through. I think just some consistency in the booth is what's necessary, because as good as Patrick and Troy are at what they do, what would help Chris be able to do his best work is having someone consistently that he's playing off of. So we'll see what happens going into this season. I don't really know what their plan is, because I don't think platooning it again is a good idea as far as quality of broadcast. And I don't. People love Troy and John Weideman on the radio so much that I don't think splitting them up anymore is a great idea. I don't know Patrick Sharp's interest in doing it full time. I don't know if that's an option. So we should hear what their plan is pretty soon. Going through the summer with a lot up in the air is not a good idea. So we'll see what happens. I think the best thing is just consistency. Yeah,
I agree with that. Get a permanent 82-game TV guy in there.
Yep.
Whether it's Troy, whether it's Patrick Sharp, or whether it's somebody new, Kaylee Chelios, Chris Chelios, does he want to do it? I don't think he wants to do it.
Got to get him out of his ESPN contract.
Yeah, I think he likes his studio gig. But, we'll see. That would be the key, is getting Chris a partner for every game, the same guy or girl. Because he had a different chemistry with both guys. Sharp is more closer to his age, and they could joke around a little bit, and he's closer removed from playing in the game, where Troy's kind of like the grizzled veteran, and you kind of got to be a little more respectful, so to say. It's almost like calling games with your dad, where like Patrick Sharp is like your buddy. Even though Troy is just a great guy and fun loving, and you could definitely bust his chops a little, but I think it's more of a respect thing there. Does Chris Vosters call a perfect hockey game? No, he doesn't. This was his first season calling hockey full time. He's still learning the game, as a lot of people do. Nobody wants to be better at his job than Chris Vosters. He puts in the work. I've had a lot of conversations with him off the ice. I've seen him on, he's at morning skates. He's trying to get in as much as he can. So his hockey knowledge is better. His knowledge, the hockey's a hard game to learn, especially when you've never called it. There's so many little intricacies. So I think one full season under his belt will do him well, and getting him a full-time partner for every game will also do him a huge service as well. Because he's not going anywhere for the time being. It was as much as some people would want it. Let him run. No matter I don't envy him for the position he's in, having to replace a legend. It didn't matter who they brought in; people weren't going to like it just because it wasn't Pat Foley.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think just having a consistent partner is going to be a good thing moving forward for them. All right, let's get one more in before we wrap up here. From
Chicago is Tanktown.
Yes.
It's the best monkey.
Our friend's hockey night.
It's my buddy Fork, big monkey fan. I replied to this with a GIF. It's Michael Naismith. Everybody knows that. He was like the creative force behind the Monkees. And some people might be laughing. I'm sure some people are like, who the hell are the Monkees? They weren't just that goofy band from that TV show that used to be on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. They actually put out some really good records in the 60s and 70s. And Michael Naismith was the driving force behind that creativity as they look to expand from their television personas into becoming a credible band. So thanks for the always 100% serious question, Fork.
I will take your word for it because I'm not that versed in the Monkees. I actually just had to look up who's all in the band.
Well, that's all right. You got us covered for the Taylor Swift lyrics. I got the Monkees covered. That's a fair trade.
Sure. Hey, Taylor Swift, great weekend set in Chicago from all accounts that I've heard. I know Kevin was at that night too, I think
Jake was at one. I caught him in the elevator. He was there with his wife.
Jake was at one? There you go.
So I guess we were the only people that weren't there. I'm okay with that.
Darn.
Yeah. All those people.
We hit the traffic, but not the.
All those people in one place makes me very itchy no matter who is performing. I'm just.
Yeah. I heard she also swallowed a bug on stage.
Well, that's
interesting.
I'm leaving that one right there where it is. Not going down that road.
That'll do. That's
you would think that happens more times than not.
You'd think so.
I mean, you're out in the open. Your mouth is
singing,
open constantly.
I don't know.
You're breathing in air.
If there's video of that instance happening, I don't even know if it's real or not. I just saw something that said Taylor Swift swallowed a bug on stage, and that's why she had to cut a song short or something.
Yeah, there's a TikTok of it. Yeah.
It's real?
Yeah, she was talking, and then all of a sudden, yeah.
Oh, all right, I'm going to have to find
real.
that.
Right.
That's great. That's a good way to end the show, right?
Yes.
All right. We did not get to all the questions.
We didn't even hit our Discord questions.
We'll have some spillover tomorrow. We'll get those taken care of. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Vegas has a 1-0 series lead, but that is nothing to worry about for the Panthers. They've been down 1-0 in a series before.
Yeah, I look for them to bounce back a little bit. Brovsky should have a better game. Not that he was terrible, but he wasn't great either. And, look for Matthew Tkachuk, who had about as lousy of a third period as you could have to bounce back early and often in this game. Should be fun. So we will be back tomorrow. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup Final and the first 2 games, and then we still got at least 10 or 12 questions left
we got
to answer.
Questions.
So we'll do Mailbag Part 2 tomorrow as well at 2 o'clock on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. So for Greg and Mario, Hope and Jay's pain meds have not worn off just yet. And don't forget, we are presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Become a diehard at AllCHGO. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube. Please hit that like button on your way out the door. And we will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Thanks, everybody.